Have you ever looked out an airplane window at 30,000 feet and noticed the ice? Outside, it is easily minus 40 degrees. Inside, you're sitting comfortably in a t-shirt. That contrast raises a pretty big question. How do engineers heat a massive aluminum tube flying through the freezing upper atmosphere, especially when lighting a fire in the cabin is impossible and electricity is strictly limited? It sounds difficult, but airplane heating systems actually rely on the same simple principles as the appliances in your kitchen and the heater in your car. If you enjoy learning how things work without needing an engineering degree, hit the like button and subscribe for more beginner-friendly explanations of aviation mechanics. Engineers achieve comfort at 30,000 feet by redirecting energy that is already present, capturing it before it escapes. Let's start with the biggest aircraft in the sky, commercial passenger jets. Heating a cabin that can hold hundreds of people requires a massive amount of continuous energy. To get that heat, large planes use a system called bleed air. Think of a jet engine as a giant hairdryer. Before burning fuel, its main job is pulling in fresh air and squeezing it tight. This diagram shows a jet engine in action. Squeezing air creates intense heat. The airplane pulls a small amount of this boiling hot air out, then mixes it with cold outside air until it hits a comfortable temperature. You might be wondering why we don't just use standard electric space heaters, like the ones you might plug into a cold bedroom. Electric heating elements strain massive amounts of power. Relying entirely on electric heat would overwhelm the airplane's generators during flight, similar to how plugging in too many appliances can trip your house's circuit breaker. That's why electric heaters are only used when the plane is plugged in on the ground. Commercial aviation relies on bleed air because the engines are already doing the work anyway. Recycling that byproduct is much more efficient than trying to generate heat from scratch electrically. But heating works differently in small, single-engine recreational airplanes that don't have massive jet turbines. This diagram illustrates an exhaust shroud heater. It works by wrapping a hollow metal tube around the engine's dangerously hot exhaust pipe, like a jacket surrounding a chimney. Fresh air is blown through the gap, picking up heat as it passes. Because this system uses the exhaust pipe, it requires a way to keep toxic gases from ever mixing with the air passengers are breathing. The fresh air and the exhaust gases are kept strictly separated by solid metal. Because even a tiny crack could be lethal, mechanics inspect these parts rigorously. Carbon monoxide detectors are mandatory to catch leaks immediately. Despite those safety requirements, recycling waste heat from the exhaust is the lightest and most power-efficient way to warm a small cabin. Then there are mid-sized aircraft, where the engines might be too far away or might not produce enough excess heat for a shroud system. To solve this, engineers install an independent combustion heater. Think of this as a fully enclosed, highly advanced camping stove built directly into the airplane. This diagram shows the unit burning fuel inside an airtight inner chamber. Clean cabin air blows over the hot exterior to warm up. Overheat switches monitor the system, instantly cutting the fuel supply if it gets too hot. When engine heat isn't accessible, planes must carry these isolated mini-furnaces, making structural containment the highest engineering priority. This graphic summarizes our three methods. Whether the plane borrows pressure, wraps a hot pipe, or runs a mini-furnace, heating relies on smart energy recycling. So the next time you are sitting comfortably in your seat during a freezing flight, take a moment to appreciate the warm air coming from the vents. You now understand more about the invisible mechanical systems keeping you comfortable than almost anyone else on your next flight. If you learned something new today, please like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment suggesting the next aviation mystery you want us to solve. Smart everyday engineering makes it possible to stay warm while traveling through the deadly extremes of the upper atmosphere.